Hello there. Welcome to Homeorama Smart School. My name is Dr. Kitui Timothy. I'm an educationist and a team leader here at Homeorama Smart School. Thank you for taking a look at who we are. Homeorama Smart School is a virtual institution that seeks to satisfy your child's needs in matters education, targeting children from the age of 4 years, PP1, PP2, primary school.
Hello children, today we are going to learn language. Language is where we are going to learn about our sounds. Have you ever heard sound A, sound B? But just before we start, we are going to sing the song answer. Let's start. Answer my arms. Answer my arms. Answer my arms. They're crossing me along. Bring your bat and bring your ball. Bring your bat and bring your ball to the park to play. We are clicking castanets. We are clicking castanets. We are clicking castanets. Clicking castanets. We are clicking castanets. See me play on my drums. Playing drums is lots of fun with a da 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 da. See me playing on my drums. Eggs in the pan, eggs in the pan, eggs in the pan, crack the egg like this. My friends and I went to the beach with my floating fish. It got a hole, the egg came out. The water gurgles down the drain. The water gurgles down the drain. The water gurgles down the drain. And the goo. I like to hop, 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 up and down. I like to hop, 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 all around. I like to hop, 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 all around. Wow, sound E. Inky the glass is my pet. She's still being confet. The ink is spread all over the desk. Ink is wet. E. Jelly and jam, jiggling on the plate. Oh, what will I eat with it? Jam. Did you enjoy the song? Wow. Now today, these are the sounds you're going to learn. Sound how do you pronounce this sound? Let's go all of us. Everybody let's say wow. Then we go to sound B. Always remember sound B is for belly. Sound B is for belly. Our belly faces in front. Then we are going to go to sound K. Everybody say K. And when you're doing K, always remember to squeeze your hands. K. Again. K. Wow. Then we go to sound D. Sound D goes for diapers. You know the diapers? What babies put on is called a diaper. How many people put on diaper? I hope you don't. Sound D for diaper. Always remember sound B faces the back and sound B faces the front. Then you're going to go to sound A. Everybody say sound A. Sound A. What does A remind us? It reminds us about a an egg. How many people love an egg? And what do we use when we are frying an egg? A pan. Wow. Let's repeat again. Then you're going to go to sound. Sound. When you blow a balloon, what sound does it produces? When it wants to go down, it produces sound. Then it goes. Everybody, let's go. Sound. Then we go to sound G. Have you ever seen a tap? When you're opening a tap, what sound does it produce? Sound G, G, G. And we remember it's G. It's G. Then we go to sound. Sound. When you time you want to blow something or yawn, also go. Everybody, let's try again. Sound. Then we'll go to sound E for ice cream. How many people love ice cream? Yeah, I also like an ice cream, but only during hot seasons. So we lick our ice cream. 1, 2. E for ice cream. Then we go to sound J. J for jelly. Jelly on the pot. Jelly on the pot. Wibble wobble, wibble wobble, jelly on the pot. Wow. J for jelly. Now we are going to read the sounds together. Then I'll give you an assignment to do. Let us start together. Ah. Everybody. Ah. Boo. Everybody. Boo. Everybody. Do. Everybody. Do. Everybody. Everybody. Wow. G. Everybody. G. Are you enjoying the sounds? Everybody. E. Everybody. E. And J. Everybody. J. Wow. Now today we are going to read for our parents sounds, but I'm going to mix them in your assignment so that I see you if you can remember. Let us repeat the song that we just learned today with the sound.
Answer my arms, answer my arms, answer my arms, they're causing me alarm.
Sound A.
Bring your bat and bring your ball, ba, ba. Bring your bat and bring your ball to the party play.
Sound Boo.
We are clicking castanets. We are clicking castanets. We are clicking castanets. Clicking castanets. We are clicking castanets.
Sound K. We go to sound D.
See me play on my drums. Playing drums is lots of fun with a da 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 da. See me playing on my drums.
Sound D. Let's go to the next one.
Eggs in the pan, eggs in the pan, eggs in the pan, spread the egg like this,
Sound A. Sound Foo.
My friends and I went to the beach with my floating fish. It's got a hole.
Let's dance together. Sound Foo. Now we go to sound G.
The water goes down the drain. The water goes down the drain. The water goes down the drain. Go.
Sound G. Let's go to sound H.
I like to hop, 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 up and down. I like to hop, 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 all around. I like to hop, hop, hop,
Sound E.
Inky the mouse is my pet. She's little big and confet. Leaving his friends all over the place. Inky's wet.
Sound E. And the last one is sound G.
Jelly and jam, jiggling on the plate. Almost when I eat with it. Jam.
Sound G. Did you enjoy the lesson? Have a nice day and see you in our next lesson. Now, what will you do today? I'm going to copy your assignments. Then your mommy will take a photo using her phone, or she can use the student portal so that I can see what you're able to remember. Is that clear? She's going to say, put you on a phone record so I see which sound that you can pronounce so that we start with the next lesson. Is that good? I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Bye!
Gone are days when scoring a straight A and getting a first-class honors degree meant that you are a successful person in life. A time has come when we have to appreciate each child's gift, talent.
Hello, how are you? Welcome to your very first class of beginner ballet. My name is Teacher Alemba and I'm going to take you through grade 1 and 2 beginner ballet classes. First of all, you need to know what ballet is, because you cannot say you're a dancer and yet you don't know what you are dancing to. So I will introduce ballet to you. Ballet is a type of dance, number one, that is done without talking. You don't talk while on stage, you only present the styles, the positions, and everything else that is inclusive in ballet to show exactly what dance is all about. Now, in ballet, there are very basic positions, and then after the basic positions, we have the terms that are used. After the terms, we have very much more that is entailed in ballet dance. But for today, for a beginner class, I want to introduce what we call the positions of ballet. Can you say positions of ballet? Very good. Now, in ballet, we have only 5 basic positions. We might have more others, but the basic ones are how many? 5. Very good. So I'm going to show you from the first one to the last one with their names. Their names are very simple. Like the first position is that. Can you try that? Very good. The second position, you roll out and open and look to the side. That's what we call the second position. In the third position, one hand comes in with the leg. Very good. Most of you are trying, that is good. And in the fourth position, one hand goes up, followed with the leg. Perfect, I love that. And then in the fifth position, the arm comes up and the leg closes back in. So that is the fifth position. Let's go through it one more time together correctly. Now, in the first position, your legs should be that way and your arms in a circular manner. Remember not to hunch your back, remember not to, okay? So it's medium. And then the second position, look to the side. Very well. In the third position, look to the front. Good. In the fourth position. And lastly, to the fifth position. Very well. You have done well. So when you are finishing the styles, you immediately go back to the very first one, because that is now the basic position where you're going to be standing while I'm training. I will teach you more of that. Now, let us break down the positions from the first one to the fifth one. And our lesson will be over. Just like that. Just like that. So, in the first position, observe my legs. My legs should be in a V shape. In a V shape, and they should be straight, not bending your knees, but the legs should be straight in a V shape. And the arms should cross in a circular manner. Don't be so hard, don't be so stiff on your arms. So they should be in a circular manner. Your chest should not be up or in, but medium. Chin should be up, not not up, but not down, but just medium. And remember, the arms should be circular. Now, that is the first position. The second position, leg crosses like that, and the arms open. Now, when you're opening your arms, ensure that it's not a complete cross. It's not straight on. This position of the elbow should go down, and this position of the palm should loosen. It should be made loose. So make sure the arms are loose on both ends. And that is how you perform the second position. Now, in the third position, this arm will cross in like that. And then the leg will have to go in between the other leg like that. That's how you do the third position. Alright, in the fourth position, you raise up your arm. Remember, it should not be straight. There is no straight in the arms, okay? So curve, don't be too stiff on your palm, make it loose. And on your leg, you should make sure your leg is moving using your toes to the front like that. On a straight leg. Don't bend your knee while you're doing it like that. Don't bend your knee. Just go straight on and stop there. In the fifth, I'll begin with the leg. In the fifth position, you just drag your foot to the toe of the other foot like that. Drag your foot to the toe of the other foot like that. And then when it comes to the arms, this arm joins the other arm up there. Remember, the arms should be in a curved position. Well, we go back now to the very first position. Wonderful. Now tell me, did you enjoy today's class? That is wonderful. If you enjoyed today's class and you are sure that you want to continue doing ballet, I want to give you just a little assignment. How many positions did we say we have in ballet? How many? 5. That is good. So go home and do the 5 basic positions of ballet. That means the first, the second, the third, remember that smile, the fourth, and the fifth. Do all of them, then make sure you tell your parents to record a small video of you doing the 5 basic positions of ballet. And after you finish recording, tell your parent, mom, dad, grandpa, auntie, whoever it is, tell them to send your video to the students' portal. The students' portal. They'll send your video, and whoever comes out the best, who knows, there might be something there for you. I have been your teacher, Teacher Alemba, and see you again in the next class of ballet, where we go through the terms that are used in ballet. Bye-bye!
And even their unique learning style, so that we bring out their special contribution that was created in them to serve the world.
Hello learners, my name is Teacher Patrick, and I'm going to take you through grade 4 maths activities under the strand measurements. We're going to look at measurements under the substrand angles. We're going to look at angles. Now, in our previous lessons, we talked about the directions, the clockwise and the anti-clockwise direction. When you're turning to the right, I said when you're turning to the right, that one is the clockwise direction. When I decide to write here, I'm turning to the right. This is my right hand. I'm going to turn to the right. This is the clockwise direction. When I decide to turn to the left, this is my anti-clockwise direction. Now, in under angles, we are only going to look at the angles. We are only going to look at the amount of turning. How are you turning now? Now, that rate of turning is what we call angles, and they are measured they are measured using degrees. They are measured using degrees. Now we are going to use this paper. This is a plain paper. All of you can take a plain paper, as you can see mine here. You can take any of the sizes, so long as it's a plain paper. it doesn't have any writing. You can see mine. Now, I'm going to fold this paper once. When I fold it like this, yes, this one, I'm going to fold it like this. If I fold it like this, you'll see this is a straight line. We're going to use this dimension. This is a straight line. This is a straight line. When I decide to write it here, we are going to use the side of the paper. I draw like this. This is a straight line. This is just a plain paper, a straight line. Now, when I decide to fold it once again, yes, I'm going to fold it once again. Now, I want you to watch out this. We're going to use this dimension and this dimension. Yes, I folded it twice and you're going to use this dimension. This side and this side. Yes, I'm going to put it here. Yes, I want us to draw. Yes, like that. Yes, that one is an example of an angle. An angle, you can see it's approaching a corner, a very sharp corner. This type of angle is what we call a right angle. A right angle. This type of angle, in most cases you'll see it having this type of rotation like that. It's called a right angle. A right angle is always at 90 degrees. A right angle is always at 90 degrees. I folded the paper twice and you can see we are using this dimension and this dimension. Yes, a right angle. This is an example of a right angle, and I want you to observe very clearly. A right angle is used in very many occasions. Now, if we decide to look at the corner of our whiteboard, you can see the criteria they use to make this corner is a right angle. This corner is a right angle. This corner is a right angle. This corner is also a right angle. You can see the paper is fitting. This corner is also a right angle. You can also try it where you are seated there on your locus. The corners of your locus are right angles. Yes, when you're making any corner, any sharp corner, you need to consider a right angle. Now, that is a right angle. We'll write here, right angle, a right angle, a right angle, a right angle. A right angle is an angle at 90 degrees. An angle at 90 degrees, or you can say an angle that always appears at the corners. At the corners, when a corner is very sharp, an angle that's there is always 90 degrees. Now, suppose we decide to proceed and fold this paper once again. Where we were folding, yes, this is the corner we are folding. Initially, it was like this, then we fold it like that. We are using this corner. We fold it once again. Yes, we fold it into two equal parts like that. Yes, we are still observing this corner. Yes, if we decide to draw these dimensions here. Yes, let's try and draw them. Yes, this is our whiteboard. Yes, like that. Sorry. Yes, we said an angle is the amount of turning. Yes. Yes. Now, this is an angle that has been formed after folding a 90 degrees. An angle that is formed after folding a 90 degrees paper. This paper was initially 90, then we folded it into two. This is an example. This type of angle is called an acute angle. An acute angle. An acute angle. An acute angle. And you'll all agree with me that an acute angle, we folded this 90 into two, which means an acute angle is smaller than 90 degrees. Now, if we want to define an acute angle is an angle that is less than 90 degrees. It was initially 90, then we folded into two. It makes an acute angle. An acute angle. An acute angle is an angle that is less than 90 degrees. Now, suppose I decide to unfold this paper now. I unfold this paper, I return it the way it was initially, then I only fold one side. Now, you see, I had folded it twice. Now, I decide only to fold it once, like that. Only this side. Then I paste it on our chalkboard. Let's see what will happen. Let's see what will happen. Yes, then I do like that. Yes, which type of angle is that? It's an angle. You can see it's not, it was 90, but I opened it and only folded one side and pasted it on the chalkboard. This type of angle is called an obtuse angle. This type of angle is called an obtuse angle. An obtuse angle is an angle that is more than 90 degrees. Now, if we decide to go back to 90, this one was 90, then we unfolded it. Now, instead of folding it back to 90, we fold only one small part, like that. We call it an obtuse angle. An obtuse angle, obtuse. An obtuse angle is called obtuse. An obtuse angle. An obtuse angle. An obtuse angle is an angle that is more than 90 degrees. An angle that is more than 90 degrees. Obtuse angle, an angle that is more than 90 degrees. Now, these are the types of angles. We started with 90 degrees, which is called a right angle. A right angle, and they have said examples of, if you want to locate a right angle, you look at the corners. Corners of any object that is two-dimensional, that is sharp. You will see that you have a right angle at the corners. Now, yes, you may find that in some instances you'll find that all these angles are there, but instead of them showing for you the amount of turn being inside, they put it outside like this. That one we said is an obtuse, but instead they put it outside like that. Now, if this turn is outside, it's an angle. Suppose it was 90, but the turn is outside. The turn is outside. Like this one is 90. You can use this one. Now that you know this one is right angle. This one was 90. Then they put it outside like that. Then this one was acute. Instead of being acute, the amount of turn they put it outside like that. Yes, if you come across such an angle and they are asking you which type of angle is this, now I want you to watch out this. Any type of angle you make that has a turn outside, be it obtuse angle, be it right angle, be it an acute angle, but the turn is outside. This type of angle is called a reflex angle. A reflex angle. Reflex angle. Reflex angle. Now that there are many, we can say angles, but this type of angle, like this one is called reflex, this one is also reflex, this one is also a reflex angle. Those are types of angles we have looked at today, and it is under the substance of measurements, angles, and we have said angles is the amount of turning. And mostly the turning is, it can only happen, the amount of turning can only happen if two lines are meeting. If two lines are not meeting, if you can have these lines like this, there's no amount of turn there. But if the lines are meeting, be it anywhere they are meeting, where they are meeting, that's where the angle is formed. Are we together? Now, and you have said when the angle is, you need to check in keenly where the turn is taking. When the turn is inside and the angle is more than 90, it's called obtuse angle. When the turn is inside and it is at a right angle like this one, it's the type of angle that's happy, keep on appearing in the corners or the edges of the two-dimensional object. We call it a right angle. Now, if it goes to an extreme that is very small than 90 degrees or right angle, we call it acute angle. Yes, and they have said angles can only be formed when two lines join together. Yes, that is the end of our lesson, and I will wish that as you go, I wish that I give you homework on this. You go and check on types of angles. You name for me the parts. You can say the parts of the dough. Parts of the dough that have 90 degrees or right angle. You can say that which part? How many parts? How many parts? How many? The question is how many? The question is how many? How many parts of the door have 90 degrees? Now, and you can also write for me these types of angles. Which type of angle is this? Which type of angle is this? And which type of angle is this? Write for me the types of angles that you have seen there, and I'll be marking them. Then after there we'll be looking at this one is like this. Then those are the types of angles I've asked you. Then after types of angles, we'll be looking at how these angles apply in day-to-day life. Are we together? Now, that's the end of our lesson. See you next time. Once again, my name is Patrick. Have a nice
Here at Homeorama Smart School, we bring school to your home and we allow your child come to school with their home. How? Through the 21st century learning technology and tools, we are able to serve your child from home. You don't need to move to Homeorama Smart School. Your child can go to the nearest public school or the most convenient private school, but allow us bridge the gap at a very affordable package.
Hi learners, welcome to our science lesson. This is Teacher Alex. It's a great pleasure to have you once again for this class 7 science lesson, and today we are looking at the topic plants. Under the topic plants, class 7 will look at the interdependence between plants and animals. So we will first of all have to highlight and understand what is interdependence. When you talk about interdependence, this is the feeding relation in an ecosystem. The feeding relation in an ecosystem is what we call interdependence. And so in this, we will have to understand how plants depend on each other and how animals depend on plants and how plants again depend on animals. So I will start with interdependence between plants. Interdependence between plants. When you talk about interdependence between plants, we are giving the way through which plants depend on each other. Plants depend on each other on three main things. That is, they depend on each other for shade, support, and habitat. That is SSH. I always use sh. The sound sh, shade, support, and habitat. So when we talk about shade, plants, the small plants will grow under big plants so that they are protected from strong winds, direct sunlight, and heavy rainfall. And so the weak plants will always grow under the small plants. As you can see in our picture here, you can see the small plants, the young plants, the seedlings are under the big plants to be given the shade. That's what we talk about shade. We also talk about support. Support is whereby plants with weak stems will depend on the strong plants so that they will support themselves all the way to the top, so that they will be able, one, to get sunlight, and two, so that they are exposed to fresh air. They get air and also sunlight. The main thing is for the sunlight, and you know the function of the sunlight is to help in photosynthesis. So plants will depend on other plants for support, mainly to look for sunlight. So these are plants with weak stems. Plants with weak stems. And how do they support themselves? There are three things they use. They either use the tendrils. As you can see, there are tendrils. Tendrils are modified leaves that help the plant to support or hold themselves on another plant. They also use hooks. As you can see, the plants we have here, they have hooks. They use these hooks to hold themselves on the other plant so that they will be able to be firm and grow all the way to the top. And finally, we have twining. This plant of ours is twining. It is rolling, curving itself around the plant. This enables it to grow all the way so that it will be able to get sunlight. So anytime you talk about plants depending on each other, they depend on each other for shade, support, and habitat. What is habitat? a habitat is like a home. So when you talk about plant habitat, this is where a plant is going to grow on another plant. A plant is going to grow on another plant. And here we have to be dynamic. Get this. When a plant grows on another plant, it can either be a green plant growing on a green plant, or it can be a non-green plant growing on a dead and decaying matter or a dead and decaying plant. So in this case, when you talk about a green plant growing on another plant, we are talking about a parasitic plant. You check here, this plant, there are two different plants. The one that is growing on this, even the leaves are of different texture. They are totally different, but it's growing on it because it depends on it. So it is called a parasitic plant. But the main plant that is being grown on is what we call the host. It is allowing the parasitic plant to grow on it. Now, we also have the other another habitat, a plant habitat, whereby you can see here we have a plant that appears to look like mushroom. It is growing on a log. Now, when you look at this picture, this is what we call saprophyte, a non-green plant growing on a dead and decaying matter is a saprophyte. We can look at the molds. There are also examples of saprophyte growing on a bread. So this is an example of, these are examples of saprophytes. So when you look at this, we are looking at the interdependence between plants. So how plants depend on each other. And I repeat, plants depend on each other for three main things: shade, support, and habitat. Shade, support, and habitat. And so I'm giving you a takeaway assignment. You will have to give the reasons. You will have to tell us how plants depend on each other. How plants depend on each other. Give the characteristics of these plants that depend on other plants, either if they are depending on them as saprophyte, or they are depending on them as parasitic plant, or they are depending on them as weak plant. In our next lesson, we will have to look at now the interdependence between plants and animals. We will then look at the interdependence between plants and animals. As for today, I was happy to have you in this class. See you next time. Bye.
Would you love to see what is at Homeorama Smart School? How are we able to serve 1 million learners? How are we able to facilitate a child in Germany, for example, to share his piano skills or his football skills with another child from Nakuru or Samburu? And how are we able to come to your home? And how are we able to facilitate your child's unique learning style and address and satisfy their gifts?
Learners, I am teacher Daniela, or as we say in Chinese, Daniela Lao Shi, because Lao Shi means teacher. Okay, so today we are going to learn Chinese, and in particular it's Mandarin. Mandarin is spoken by about 970 million people in the world. It's the most spoken language in the world. So it's very advantageous for you to learn this language, okay? So today we are going to start with the introduction or the basics of Chinese. And because Chinese is a very tonal language, and by tonal I mean that the words vary like music. It goes up, down, up, sometimes flat. So we have to understand the tones of the language because it's going to form the rest of the words that you're going to learn. Okay? So the first tone in Chinese is flat tone. And we can start, this is how we pronounce it. Ah, ah, okay? So flat tone. You can even do it with your hand. Ah, alright? And then the second tone in Chinese is rising tone. Ah, ah. So you can use your hand too. And it goes from bottom to top. Ah. Okay, so try it. Ah. Very good. And then the third tone is falling, then rising tone. Okay? So, ah. Ah. Try it. Very good. Ah. And then the fourth tone is falling tone. Ah. And so you start from the top and go to the bottom. Ah. Okay? So try it. Ah. Very good. So let's try our 4 tones, starting from the first tone to the last tone. So, ah, 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 ah. Clap for yourselves. Very good. So, learning tones is very important because different words in Chinese with different tones can have different meanings. Okay? Let's use an example. The word ma. So we are going to say the word ma using the 4 different tones. So let's say ma using the first tone, which would be ma, ma. So ma in Chinese means mother. Okay? Ma. And then the second tone would be ma, ma, which means what? Okay? Ma. And then the third tone would be ma, ma, which means horse. Okay? Horse. Ma. And you're riding a horse. And then the fourth tone is ma. So when you're angry at someone and you want to scold them, we use ma. Okay? That's how we say it in Chinese. Ma. Good. So let's say that one time together. Ma. That is mother. Ma. What? Ma. Horse. And ma. Scolding someone when you're angry. Okay? Very good. So now you can see why tones are very important in Chinese. And you know why? Because if you use the wrong tone, you could mean something very different. For example, you might want to say mother, ma, and you say ma, and you're asking what? Okay? So make sure you keep note of the tones when speaking Chinese. Alright? So that is the end of our first lesson, tones. Very good.
Daniela here is you may have seen Daniela. She's one of our facilitators here and teacher. At the same time, she also serves in the public relations department, and she will take us through the institution virtually, our virtual campus. You'll be able to experience what it is we do, how it is we do. Thank you very much, and Daniela will take you around. I'll be back shortly.
Learners, welcome to our second Chinese class. Okay, so my name is Daniela, teacher Daniela. Okay, and in Chinese we would say Daniela 老师 because 老师 means teacher. Okay, so Daniela 老师. So welcome to our class, and if you missed the previous class where we talked about tones, make sure you go back and watch it so that you can understand more when we're talking about the different tones in our class today. Okay? So today we're going to learn all about greetings in Chinese. So the first greeting would be hello. Okay? Hello or hi. So in Chinese we would say 你好. 你好. So 你 is one word and 好 is another word. So together 你好. Both of them are that tone. 你好. So 你好. And when somebody says 你好, you just answer 你好 because it's hello. Hello, hello. 你好, 你好. Okay? So our second greeting is how are you? How are you? 你好吗? 你好吗? So those would be 3 words. 你好吗? And ma does not have any tone. So it would be 你好吗? Okay? So when you meet with somebody and you want to say how are you? You'd say 你好吗? And if you want to say I am fine, we say 我很好,我很好. So 我 means me or I, 我. 很 means very, 很, 很. And good is 好, 好. So 我很好, I am very good. So when you meet with your friend, they would ask you 你好吗? And what did you answer? 我很好. Very good. 很好. Okay? So our third greeting would be good morning. Good morning. So when you wake up and you want to greet people good morning, what do you say? 早上好. 早上好. Okay? Remember that 好 is good. 好 is good. So 早上 would mean morning. 早上 morning. So 早上好 would be good morning. And when somebody greets you 早上好, you just answer 早上好. Good. So let's hear it. 早上好. Very good. Let's go to the next greeting. Good evening. Good evening. So evening in Chinese is 晚上. 晚上. So good evening would be 晚上好. 晚上好. Because 好 means good. Remember that 好 is good. And evening is 晚上. So good evening is 晚上好. And that is the same way you respond when somebody says good evening. Good evening, good evening. So 晚上好, you answer 晚上好. Very good. Our next greeting would be good afternoon. Good afternoon. So afternoon in Chinese is 下午. 下午. Okay? So 下午. So that is afternoon. But if you want to say good afternoon, we would say 下午好. 下午好. Very good. And you'd respond 下午好. Very good. Our next greeting is good night. Good night. So when you want to go to sleep and you want to tell somebody good night, we would say 晚安. 晚安. And 晚安means, it simply means have a peaceful night. Okay? Because an in Chinese is peaceful. And 晚 is late evening. So 晚安 is good night. That is how we wish somebody good night. Very good. And our last one is saying goodbye. Goodbye. And in Chinese goodbye we say 再见. 再见. Which literally means see you again. Okay? See you again. 再见. So 再 means again. And 见 means to see somebody. So see you again. 再见. Which would mean goodbye. Okay? So let's go through the words one more time. Good morning. 早上好. Good afternoon. 下午好. Good evening. 晚上好. Good night. 晚安. Yes. What about hello? 你好. And how are you? 你好吗? And I am fine. 我很好. 我很好. Okay. And the last one, goodbye. 再见. 再见. So we have a song for the greetings, and now we can listen to the song.
你好，你好，你好，你好，你好。
So now that you've listened to the song, after the class, you can log into the students portal, and there you can submit your homework, which you will do with the help of your parents. And after I receive the homework, I'm going to award you marks and send it back to you. So for your homework today, I need you to go through the words that you just learned, and with the help of your parent or guardian, let them take you a video saying the following words in Chinese. The first one, how are you? How are you? The second one, I am fine. I am fine. And the last one, goodbye. Goodbye. Okay? And then they can send it to the students portal where I am going to award you marks. Okay? 好，再见。Thank you, Dr. Kitui, for this amazing opportunity. So welcome viewers, this is Homeorama Smart School. I'm going to give you a virtual tour of our school campus. It is from here that we are able to host over 10 million learners and teachers from all over the world. It is also from here that we are able to broadcast live radio sessions and live TV sessions. As you can see behind me, there's a lot that is going on, and it is from here that we are able to monitor each student's individual progress and also supervise our teachers. In case you want to learn geography, instead of teaching about the different mountains or different planets, we can just take you virtually to each planet from right here.
Hey learners, hope you are safe. I'm happy to join you once again. This is Teacher Alex. For those who we've not met yet, today we are going to have our math session, and in this math session today we are going to talk about the topic fractions, that is class 5 maths, fractions, and we will look at addition of fractions. Addition of fractions. You were taught when you were in class 5, currently being called grade, even you are in grade 4, we used to call it class 4. You are taught on basic concepts about fractions. Here we are now talking about addition of fractions. We want to know how do I add a fraction to another fraction. I will start with addition of a fraction by a fraction. For example, I'm going to take a fraction such as a half. I will take a half. I add on to a half. I'm adding a fraction whose denominator is the same. This is addition of a half by a half. The denominators are the same. So in this case, my denominator will remain the same. Same concept that we were taught in class 4. So whereby I will only deal with, I will put this line, then I will deal with the denominator. If the denominator is 2, and because the denominators are the same, then my denominator here will be 2. And then I only add the numerators. I add the numerators. I'm doing this because the denominators are the same. If the denominators are the same, then I will use it here as my LCM. So the denominator will be 2. Then I add the numerator, which is 1 plus 1. That is the basic mathematics that we started with. 1 plus 1 will give me 2. If I'm going to get 2 over 2, 2 over 2 is the same as a whole, which is 1. So my answer is going to be 1. Because 2 over 2 is the same as a whole, which is 1. So anytime you are given a fraction whose denominators are the same, if you are given a fraction whose denominators are the same, you use the denominator to be the same, and then you add the numerator. That means if I'm given a third plus a third, if I'm given a third plus a third, then my denominator will remain to be 3. My denominator will remain to be 3. So this means I'm going to have my denominator as 3. My denominator will remain to be 3, and then I add the numerators. The numerators are the numbers at the top. So this means I will now add 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1, which is going to give me 2. So this means I'm going to get my answer as 2/3. This is Simple. It is different from this because we added the numerators and the denominator were the same. The numerator and the denominator were the same, which means it becomes a whole. But this one, because the numerator is smaller than the denominator, it is a proper fraction. It remains to be 2/3. Now, a question comes in when you are given a fraction that whose denominators are different. If you are given a fraction whose denominators are different, allow me split my board, and then we now check the fractions whose denominators are different. If I'm given now, for example, 1/2 plus 1/3. If I'm given 1/2 plus 1/3. Now, this is where maths becomes simple and sweet. We already have the concept of LCM because the denominators are different. Now, we are to look for the LCM of the denominators, which are 2 and 3. And the question is, what is LCM? LCM is the least common multiple. So we look for the least common multiple of 2 and 3. The least common multiple. So any fraction that you'll be given, you will look for the least common multiple of the denominators. So in this case, our denominators are 2 and 3. So we look for the least common multiple of 2 and 3. And how do we find that? Let's try this. How do we find that? This way we are reminding ourselves of the concepts that we already acquired. So we are going to look for the least common multiple of 2 and 3. So we look for a number, the smallest number that can divide any of these numbers. And because our numbers are 2 and 3, so the smallest number that we will use is 2. We will start with 2. 2 can divide 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So I write my 1 here. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 3 divided by 2 is impossible. So I will write that 3 here. Why am I saying it's impossible? Because 2, when I divide 3 divided by 2, it will give me a remainder. And yet I want to divide it completely. So I will look for another number that can now divide into these 3. That is 1 and 3. So the number that can divide into this is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So this means I will now multiply the numbers that are on this side. The ones that I was using as the divisors. So I will multiply 2 multiplied by 3. These 2 I multiplied with these 3. So 2 multiplied by 3 is going to give me 6. This means my LCM, which is the least common multiple, is 6. My LCM, which is the least common multiple, is 6. So I will now use it as my denominator here. I use it as my denominator. Now, I want you to follow this keenly, because we will now apply this in all our operations involving fractions. Because I've already found my LCM, which is 6, yes? Since I found my LCM, I check the LCM, I divide it by the denominator of the first fraction. I divide it by the denominator of the first fraction. This means it is 6 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2, 6 divided by 2, divide it somewhere. 6 divided by 2. Yes, 6 divided by 2 is 3. The answer I've gotten, 6 divided by the denominator of the first fraction is 2. We saw 6 divided by 2 is 3. The answer I get, I multiply with the numerator of the same fraction. Numerator of the same fraction. So that is 6 divided by 2 is 3. Then multiply it with this one. So I multiply here 3. Because I've gotten 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 times the numerator. So that is 3 times 1 is 3. I write it here. And then this is addition, so I bring the addition sign here. And then I now move to the denominator of the second fraction. The denominator of the second fraction. The denominator of the second fraction, let's check on the board. The denominator of the second fraction is 3. Now, I will now divide the LCM. I divided the denominator of the second fraction. That will be 6 divided by 3. 6 divided by 3. You can divide it somewhere. Divide it. Divide it. Don't tell me somebody is counting the fingers. 6 divided by 3. You are going to get 2. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I now multiply that answer with the numerator of the same fraction. The numerator of the same fraction, that is 6 divided by 3 is 2. So I multiply here by 2. That is 1 times 2 is 2. So I write here 2. And then I work it out. It is simple. Now 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2. So when you add 3 plus 2, you are going to get 5. So I'm going to get 5 over the denominator. The denominator remains the same over the denominator, which is 6. And so my answer is going to be 5/6. 5/6, which is the same as 5 over 6. So I will get my answer. My answer is going to be 5 over 6. 5 over 6. And that is how you add. That is basic addition. This is just basic addition. And so I'm going to give you an assignment, and then we prepare ourselves for the next session, for the next lesson, whereby we will now introduce addition of mixed fractions. Addition of mixed fractions. So as per now, I'm going to give an assignment. I'm going to give an assignment, and you ensure that you submit it through the students portal. We have our pens. You can write this down. You work out these 5 simple questions. These 5 simple questions are the ones that will enable us to build on them as we prepare to work out and solve problems involving addition of mixed fractions. Once again, it was Teacher Alex. I'm happy to have you in class. See you next time. Bye bye for now.
Back to Dr. Kitui.
Well, virtually, that is our Homeorama Smart School, your opportunity. Are you interested? Would you love to have your child be part of this virtual community? Would you love your child to study at Homeorama or be supported to learn from home at Homeorama Smart School? All you need to do is visit our website, www.homeorama.org. You only need to do is enroll your child. We will do a gift and talent testing for your child. We will identify your child's educational gaps and bridge, or what we call academic dead joints. What is it that your child did not get well? What is it that the teacher did not teach according to your child's learning style? What is it that concepts were not trained or infused so well? What is it that your child cannot apply at home? And we'll be able to journey with your child. We'll be glad to have you with our child. Feel free to call our numbers right there on the screens. Feel free to send us a WhatsApp message or email, and we'll be glad to journey with you. At Homeorama Smart School, currently learning from home, preparing for the world in future.
Hello, hello, welcome again. Now to your second class of ballet, beginner ballet, and this is grade 1 and grade 2. My name is Teacher Who? I'm offended, some of you forgot my name. My name is Teacher Alemba. Thank you so much for joining us in today's class. And the other time when we were in this class, we learned about the positions of ballet. And we said this is the first, very quickly, and this is the second, the third, don't do it, just watch, the fourth, and the fifth. And then we said when we finish, we go back to the very first. Very wonderful. Now, today I want to take you through another session. I want to take you through the terms that are used in ballet. The terms that we use in ballet. In every dance, there are terms that we use. Like in hip-hop dance, we have the orange juice. Everybody knows that. Orange juice, orange justice. Okay? And then there is more and more and more terms. Now, in ballet, I want you to learn that the terms that we use are not really English, but they come from a country called France. Because France is where ballet was made an official dance, though it came from Russia. So the terms that we are going to use are French terms. Now, on to the first one. The first term is called plier. Can you say plier? Say it again, plier. Yes, very good. Now, plier means to bend. Plier means to bend. Wonderful. In your positions, I want to show you the bend that we do in ballet. Now, in ballet, we don't bend like this. We don't bend like this. No. That's not bending in ballet. In ballet, when you're told to plier or to bend, you put your arms akimbo, arms on your waist. And now I want you to watch my knees. My knees will have to go in that position and come back. That's what we call the plier. Now remember, anytime you are standing in a ballet class, your legs should always be in a V shape. The legs should always be in a V shape. Don't make the legs crooked. They should always be in a V shape. Now, our plier looks something like that. Something like that. Very good. So it's not to the front. You cannot do to the front if your legs are in a V shape. But you can do this. But in a V shape, they go to the side, slightly to the side. Don't be too stiff on your body. Very good. One more time. Very good. That's what we call the plier. So today I'm only going to show you styles concerning the lower body. We are not going to do the upper body. We're only going to do the lower part of your body. Let's work on the lower first, and then we'll come to the upper later. Now, that is the plier. There are two types of plier, but that's a lesson for another day. So, after the plier, maintain your V shape, please. Maintain your V shape. Good. Alright. The second term that we use in ballet, that is in French, remember that, is called a tendu. Can you say tendu? Tendu. Very good. So the tendu simply means to stretch. And now let me tell you something else. In ballet, you don't stretch like this and all those kinds of stretch. No. In ballet, when we talk about stretch, your arms should be arms akimbo, arms on your waist. And then the leg, now I want you to watch very closely how the leg goes. The leg brushes on the ground until it's only the toes that remain on the ground. That's now what we call stretching. And as you stretch like that, as your toes are on the ground, remember that your knee should be straight. Do not bend your knee. Make sure it is straight with your toes pointing down to the ground. That is how the tendu or the stretch is done. Wonderful. Take back your leg into the V shape. That is good. Alright. The third and very last one of our class today is called dégagé. Now dégagé simply means to disengage. Can you say dégagé? Good. Can you say disengage? So we are simply disengaging the feet from the tendu. We disengage from the ground and we go up, then down. We go up, then down. Again, up and down. That's what we call the dégagé. And then you pull back into the V shape. Now, those are the terms that we use in ballet. I was only showing you how to do them. Now I want us to actualize. Can you say actualize? Yes, I want us to actualize the moves on the ground. Have you ever heard that on ground things are different? Good, so let's do the difference here. Now in plie, you should move a little faster. So it's not this kind of plie, but this kind of plie. 1 and 2. Let's do it again. 1 and 2. I want us now to do it 2 times. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. 1 and 2. Wonderful. Now we move on to the next one, the stretch or the tendu, if you like. Tendu, we are going to do it 2 times. 1, 2, 3, and let's go. Tendu. 1. Good. And 2. Wonderful. Do it again. 1 and 2. Very good. All right. We go to, which one was the third one? Somebody remind me. Which one was the third one? Aha, very good. Dégagé or yes, disengage. I love that. You guys are very good. Keep it up. So in the disengage, the foot goes up a little faster. It's not a slow motion. It's a little faster, so we go like dégagé and back. Okay? Dégagé, back. When you're coming back, you should always come back to the position which is your V shape. Which is your V shape. So you dégagé back there. Dégagé back there. Let's do it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Let's go. 1, 2, and 3. Wonderful. I love how you guys are doing it. And now I want us to connect the 3 terms. So we are going to do the plie, we do the tendu and dégagé. Okay? You ready? All right, let's go. Number 1, plie, tendu and dégagé. Again, plie, tendu, dégagé. Remember to keep your feet straight. Some of you are not keeping the feet straight. You're bending your knees. Don't bend your knees. Be straight. Compose yourself, compose yourself. Very good. Let's do it again. Plie, tendu, dégagé. Again, plie, tendu, dégagé. Plie, tendu, dégagé. Very good. That is the end of today's lesson. Did you all enjoy? Wonderful. So this is my assignment again, as usual. I want you to go through the terms, mentioning them in the video that you are going to record. Make sure the video is not so long. It doesn't have to be 5 minutes. It could be 30 seconds, 20 seconds. You just tell us this is the plie and you show us the plie. This is the tendu, you show us the tendu. And this is the dégagé and you show us the dégagé. Record that video, let your parent or guardian send us through the student portal, and we will proceed in our next class. What do you expect in the next class? We are going to have something called a recap. Can you say recap? Wonderful. The recap includes the positions and terms of ballet that we have gone through so far. Just so that you don't forget, we are going to do them one more time in the next class. See you again. Teacher Lemba here.
Did you know that your child has a unique contribution to make to the world, and that education should seek to identify it, enhance it, and make it happen? Did you know that your child can go to, or your child can attend the nearest public school or the most affordable, convenient private school, but still have opportunity to learn using the 21st century learning tools and interact with peers from all over the world at an affordable rate? Did you know that some children begin their careers professionally in their areas of giftedness and talentedness at a very young age, and that your child is not different? Did you know that the home environment in which your child is growing is enough school for your child to acquire both technical and soft skills, prerequisite for them to succeed in life if supported with the right tools? Did you know that a child studying music in Germany is excited to share his piano skills with a child in Kenya, and will be more delighted to learn how to play it, how to dribble a ball, or how to speak Swahili from a Kenyan counterpart? Maybe you need to check this out. Peer teaching and peer learning, 21st century approaches towards education. You need to check this out. Are you interested? Visit www.homeoramasmartschool.org. Homeorama Smart School. We bring school to your home, and we allow you come to school with your home.